sleep? Well, join the amazing duo, Lady K and Lady J, for a program which is geared to enrich you, mind, body, and soul, right here on 246 BeijingVibesRadio.com, 12 till 3 on a Sundays AM, 7 till 10 p.m., 8 till 11 Eastern Standard Time. Don't you miss it. Feeling lethargic? Feeling lazy? Feeling tired?
Hi, Pritvi. How are you? You hearing me?
I am. Finally, thank you so much for joining.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself? Oh my God, look how we're so twinsies. We didn't even plan this. Look at this. I'm wearing a Christmas shirt, and there you are with the candy canes. I love it. I love it. You can't make this up.
How are you doing? How are you doing? You doing great?
Everything is going all right. I was just finishing up another meeting prior to this, so that was scheduled. Then I have another meeting after this.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
How's everyone with you?
Everything
How are
is
you
good.
and Joan?
She's doing fine. Her client is about to transition, so she's not going to be with us this evening. She was behind the scenes a little bit talking to myself and Tom, but everything is good. Everything is good. And we just want to thank you both for joining us. Will, thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, hi, sir. How are you?
This is Pritvi. This is our sister.
Yes. Nice to meet you virtually. Let's, virtual handshake.
Yeah. Thank you, Will. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. And this is such an important topic at this end of the year. Because we are winding down 2025. And as we're winding down 2025, there's so much things that is coming to mind right now, and it feel like a pull, and it's a pull to reset, to release, to realign. And decluttering is internal and external.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter the way how you're going to look at it at this point. It's both internal, what's happening inside of you, and what is happening in the environment around you. And it's more than tidying up. It's a soulful practice of making space for what truly matters to you. It's clearing away things that truly matters to you. And I'm going to make it a little bit more visual that we can understand what is really decluttering. When your phone is out of storage, a message normally comes up on the phone that your phone is out of storage. The first thing we got to do as individuals, because our phone is so important to us, we got to start deleting stuff off from our phones. And deleting is one, but then we got to go through to see what we're going to keep, what is important, and what we're going to be deleting. Because we just can't just go and delete everything just like that, because we have a lot of important stuff on this device, right? So we got to go through and we got to see what we're going to keep and then what we're going to let go. And sometimes we keep stuff and we still got to go back and do some more clearing of our phones. So that is just like how we got to declutter. We got to take away things from our lives that's not serving us any longer. And is stepping into a spacious possibility. You're making space for greater things to come into your life. You're making space for greater energy to surround you as well. And it's not decluttering only your home, it's decluttering your mind, decluttering your body. What are you eating? Are you going to look at the foods that you're going to be eating going into 2026? Are you going to be looking at how you're moving your body? Are you going to be going to the gym a little bit more? Or are you going to be starting to work out to shed some of those pounds? You're going to look at your diet, your nutrition. So it's so many things when you talk about this word declutter. Is so many things we need to look at this point in time of our lives going into 2026, because decluttering is essential act of care for the mind, body, and home. It's essential, and it is essential for us to do at this point in time of the year, because we are wrapping up. We are wrapping up this year, and it's not only looking at it as decluttering. It's also a form of emotional renewal. It's you're removing the energies that is holding you back, that is so dense, and you're making space for the energy to flow. So this evening we're going to touch on a lot of great points. And we encourage you to just sit back. We encourage you to have a notepad. We encourage you to have a pen, because we're going to give you some great pointers that you can help yourself. And if you know someone who can benefit from this podcast this evening, we highly suggest that you share us out. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul, Light, and Body, that you will never miss none of these episodes. Because when you come into this space, there is so much we have to offer, because we are here to be of service. We are here to serve you. And every week we bring on a guest or guests that we can help you as an individual to empower yourself so you can experience transformation. It's all about transformation. And this just came to mind as I was doing this intro. To someone out there who experiencing a loss in whatever form, just remember and just know that you matter. Just remember that we are here for you. Just remember it's a transition period, because everybody experiences grief in a different form. And I think last week we touched a little bit on that, Will. We touched a little bit on that last week, and we all go through something. And sometimes this is a very rough time for somebody. So just know that there are communities that could support you. Reach out and get the right kind of help that you need. We are here for you. Reach out to any one of us in this panel here this evening. We are here for you. We're going to give you that space where you can tell us the way how you feel. So, Will and Pritvi, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Karen. I'm Lady K, Holistic Health and Wellness Coach, and so many more other stuff with myself and Lady J. And we are so grateful that we can be in this space to share this evening about the power of decluttering and why we should declutter at this point in time of the year. So, Privity, I'm going to toss the mic to you because you're new on enrichment of mind, body, and soul. So, tell us a little bit of yourself.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. You've touched a few things that I'm also going to be alluding on, so I'm so happy. Like minds, right?
Exactly.
I think this space is so wonderful. First of all, before I say anything, I think this space is so wonderful to have. I think your podcast is doing amazing things in raising the frequency of this planet, in raising the vibrations of our minds, our bodies. We are vibrational creatures. Our human beings run on frequency, whether we're aware of this or not. Sound and energy is the footprint of this universe. Whether we're talking about animals, we are the highest form of an animal, which is a human being, and we need to keep that in mind. So thank you so much for creating that sacred space that anyone that wants to follow me or wants to reach out, I can definitely schedule some time to do that. So first of all, my name is Pritvi Sammy. You guys may reach me. I work in the hospital as a visitor manager in the ER. I'm also building a wellness business as well, currently at that moment, a holistic business. And so this is my field and my niche. I've been studying spirituality and everything and psychology and how spirituality and psychology intertwine with these two fields, how they intertwine and intersect, because basically the American public and even outside of the American culture globally, we speak on facts and surveys and experiments and scientific evidence. And so when you're speaking on a holistic sense, you also have to incorporate these factual details for people to have a consensus and an understanding on a deeper level. So I do that, and that is where you guys can reach me on my handle. My Instagram handle is Zentopia_Gardenia. My LinkedIn is Pritvi S or Pritvi Sammy. You can search me up, and yeah, I'm here to do that consciousness and awakening for the consensus and the collective, for the human collective. So I wanted to start off, I have a few tangible, of course, I never come empty-handed. I have a beautiful gift that I'd like to dive into. Now, gifts are a different thing, right? It doesn't have to be my Christmas gift to your beautiful audience in this sacred time and space is a few tangible ways that they can do this decluttering. And that's what we're going to dive into. But before I do dive into the decluttering, while Miss Lady K here was speaking, some stuff was coming up while she was talking. So I want to touch base on the stuff that came up while she's speaking. So as a sister, I'm going to lean into what came up just now while she was talking. So what Miss Karen had already alluded, and just to touch base there, she was mentioning about how our minds, we have to compartmentalize, we have to understand what we are decluttering. So I would use the analogy that our mind is like a CPU. What is a CPU? It is the motherboard of a computer, right? It's where we store information. And Miss K was talking about how the beautiful analogy of the phone, right? And when there's a notification, so does the CPU and so does a computer. They have the same kind of mindset of when the computer is running on a certain low, when it's running out of capacity, or when there's something wrong, there's a hijack of a virus, there's a hijack of something. Who are we allowing to hijack in our year, right? So there's going to be prompting questions that I will dive into in a moment. But one thing I want to ask your audience to write this down is, are we allowing anyone to hijack our energy, right? And hijack, quote unquote, motherboard, right? So our motherboard is our energetic sacred space. Our motherboard could be allowing a phone call to happen that we're not too fond of. Can we have a hard conversation with somebody? Can they even have the the consciousness level to hold the conversation. So hijack is a very operative word. Why I'm speaking about hijacking. Hijack, anybody could be a hijack. We're talking about energetic vampires that could be in your space. We don't want that, but we have to be, divine discernment comes to play. So aside from hijacking, why do we have to have divine discernment? Divine discernment is extremely essential. What do I mean by that? When you have your time with God, whenever that is, during the day or during the week or whenever you find the time, and I would encourage everybody to find even 5-10 minutes of their day to check in with the God in some shape or form, whoever that God may be. It's not about that. When you guys have that time and you say, God, guide me through the day, whether that be at night, whether that be in the morning time, when you guys do that, I would encourage anyone to ask God for divine discernment. And what does that mean? That means that we want to exercise that muscle, because when that muscle is not exercised, we don't know how to tell the difference between somebody that's an energetic vampire, and we don't know the difference between somebody that's putting on a mask just to play around, right? Just for fun and giggles. There's some people out there that will just put you on for a nice roller coaster ride if you just said yes. So there's something to be wary of that. And when I say roller coaster ride, when we're doing this year evaluation, a roller coaster ride can last a year, whether we're talking about a romantic relationship, whether we're talking about a business partnership, whether we're talking about any kind of relationship in our lives that we care for or that we take time for. So the hijacking is hijacking of our time, of our space, of our energy. Why are we using divine discernment? We need to know that we need to discern when we are spotting the red flags right off the bat. What are the red flags? Do we need to know in a human being what those red flags are? Yes, we do need to know what those red flags are. If you don't know what the red flags are, I encourage you guys to follow me on Facebook. My Facebook is Pritvi Zen. That's P as in Peter, R as in Rabbit, I as in Ion, T as in Timothy, V as in Victor, I as in Ion, and Zen, Z-E-N. And that is my screen name. And I post about these things, about spotting the red flags, if anybody is interested in understanding how to spot this, which I will be sharing with your audience soon. But besides divine discernment, there's something called divine selection. Divine selection, what do we mean by that? Divine selection is, who are we being discerned with, right? So it involves a selection process in our inner circle, in our outer circle. Who are we acquaintances with? Even acquaintances is something. You're doing an energetic exchange. Divine selection. Sometimes no talking to that person is your best bet to just keeping your peace. What is keeping your peace looking like, right? So when you do this divine discernment, you do, in doing so, you're doing the divine selection, right? And then when you're doing this divine selection, that's part of your keeping your peace practice. Every human being, male or female, should have a divine selection or divine discernment in your year, and what that looks like. A blueprint of what that looks like. What are you allowing in your inner circle? You're considered the guard of your inner circle, right? So you are either allowing a virus to hijack your system, whether that be in a CPU or whether that be in a sickness. I just read two studies I will add to your audience. Is now they're looking at when you receive a financial loss, which this is Miss Lady K talked about, a loss. When you're dealing with a financial loss, a physical loss with somebody leaving your life, whatever type of loss we're talking about, they're equating it now to cancer. So is that a sickness? Yes, cancer is a sickness, but they're equating the pain that comes and the gruelingness that comes with loss and the grieving process and denial and all the steps of grieving. We are talking about it in a spiritual sense and a physical sense. And this is why it says mind, body, and soul, right? So they're comparing it now to cancer, meaning into a sickness. How does that happen? So cancer has all these side effects and you have to do radiation, and it's a grueling, horrible process, right? No matter if there's people out there that's dealing with chronic conditions during these holiday period and during your life. And when you're dealing with a chronic condition and you're dealing with that, when you're succumbing to these, poisonous attachments. Now, it does sometimes your attachments doesn't have to be people. It could be an addiction. It could be an addiction that you may have that you're aware of, but it's really peeling you off. I mean, it's really doing disservice to you in the long run. So that's another thing to be aware of, your addictions, right? And that goes into play with the divine discernment. There is something I will share as far as in a health way. There's a Japanese Nobel Prize winner that is from Japan that talked about intermittent fasting and what that does to eat the bad cells in your body. I would encourage everybody to definitely look into this, maybe adopting even one day out of the week. Whether you want to do an 8 to 12 hour fast, do it. It's really, really good in checking in with God during this fasting period. You don't have to wait till Lent season to do this. You can do this personally on your own as a checkpoint. Other things that came up was what comes to surface when we're talking about self-care. When you're writing, and I encourage everybody to do some level of journaling, whether it's 15 minutes a day or something, but do a brain dump. We talked about this the last time I was here. But do a brain dump of whatever's going on in that week on a weekly basis, a brain dump. This doesn't have to be every day. This could be, you take 5 minutes to talk about whatever, 5 minutes a day, you're doing that brain dump. And then on a Saturday or Sunday, or whenever it is you find the time once a week, you encompass all that 5 minutes writing on a daily basis in one whole page, and you review that on a weekly basis of what's happening and what's coming up to the surface, right? So there's that. I wanted to lastly say before I get into the list of what I got into, which is this in the Chinese culture is the year of shedding, and it's the snake. This is a symbolism. The animal, the sacred animals is the snake year, right? And when you're ending off, what does a snake do? At a certain point in time, just like all animals that transition and do have a transition, it's a snake year where you're shedding all these layers, right? You're shedding everything that's good and bad. You're trying to retain what's good, and you're trying to shed whatever you consider poison and bad. So that is the year. That's why I think this holiday season has been also very heavy on everybody. And I urge everybody to grab a notebook and write down what it is that they are shedding. And I will share with you guys some prompt questions that I have available. And next year, just to be aware, on talking about the totem animal here, the next year in 2026, it is considered the horse year. And that is a whole different vibration we can talk about. So when we're talking about clearing out before the new year, we're talking about physical clutter. So what is physical clutter? We're talking about expired food, medicines, beauty products, old receipts, manuals, paperwork, clothes, damaged items you keep just in case. Damaged items this is in feng shui now. Now, this could be in all cultures. They have different belief systems, but this is something to be aware of. When you have a damaged item in your home, whether it's a broken glass, a broken mirror, a broken vase, a broken anything, a broken even a book that fell apart, doesn't matter. Even a broken ware. Sometimes you'll see your wares, your cup or your plates, they're chipped. Don't eat from that. Just these are all energetic things, right? So mismatched Tupperware, old chargers, duplicate, worn out towels, bed sheets, things that you sleep on that carries energy that your energy obviously gets imbued on. All of these things, right? Books you won't reread, things that you could pass on knowledge to the future generation, to someone that's younger in youth. You can hand it to a high school student. You could mentor a student. You can hand it off to a grandparent that loves to read. You can hand it off to a nursing home. I saw another post that people say adopt a grandparent in a nursing home at this time of the year. It's so wonderful. People are lonely out there. We're suffering in a lot of loneliness, and this is wonderful to do. If you want to do something kind in the planet, there's many ways we can take out even 3 hours of our time to donate in different ways. It doesn't have to be financial. If people don't have that, that is okay. but you can donate your time and your energy, whether it's in a soup kitchen, whether it's in a nursing home for a grandparent, whether it's a high school for students. These are all beautiful acts of kindness that will also circulate good energy in your new year when you're starting off. So ending the year on a positive note, right? Home and lifestyle, we're talking about, half-use products, makeups for females, sauces, pantry items, digital clutter. We talked about this. Miss Kay was talking about it earlier. Duplicate photos and videos, old screenshots, things that you know for sure that you're definitely not going to use again. Files, making sure that you're organized with your files, having everything up in your different file folders, old accounts that you don't use, passwords and so forth that you don't, keep in check. A financial cleanup, that's a whole nother thing, right? Review, close unused bank accounts. We're going to talk about that just for one more minute. Bank accounts, financial. How do you, Miss K just talked about creating space. When you're creating space, how do we attract wealth? Wealth is not just financial, and it is financial. Yes, it makes the world go round. We all know that. But how do we attract real wealth? What is your meaning of success? People have to define that at the end of the year. What makes a successful year? A successful year to one person may be completely different to another person's year and what that looks like. So what does success mean to you at the end of the year that you've had a year well spent? So success for me, I will quote one of my favorite quotes, which I don't have on me right this second, but basically success could mean different things for different people. So you guys need to define that for yourselves. Everybody has a different meaning of success. And old gift bags, things that you guys, let me finish off the thought. Sorry about the financial cleanup. So when you're talking about wealth, right? Wealth comes in different forms. It's also an energetic footprint. If we are talking about, if we have stuck finances, a lot of people, sometimes we get into a rut. Everybody's experienced this, including myself. And I'm speaking from experience. If you have a financial stuck point, when you have that, or you end off the year and you're realizing after you're like checking your finances and about to gonna do taxes in 2 months, you're realizing it's not looking great. So what can we do in the new year? And not just resolutions, but a 90-day plan. Can you create a 90-day plan of what that looks like of the remaining parts of December into January and February for 90 days? What does that look like for how you're starting off the year strong and keeping your resolutions in place and doing an active action plan to do a 90 days action plan where you commit to 90 days where you're doing something by action to create momentum for your first 3 months of the year, right? So that's very important. And how you do that, when you do this action plan and you create this momentum, wealth will come. Wealth will come in forms of friendships. Wealth will come in forms of partnerships. Wealth will come in networking. Wealth will come in sponsorships. Wealth will come in different ways and shapes and forms when the universe sees that you commit your heart and soul into something that you love and you're passionate about. I find that people find they're placed in a stuck place when you are with the wrong people, when you are on the wrong narrative. Your mind also has to have the inner narrative. You have to have beliefs that you reprogram your subconscious to know that you can be everything you set out to be. It's all about belief. It's all about installing in the CPU of the mind, remove the hijacks, remove the viruses, remove the stuff that's happening. And how do we reintegrate when you're creating that space and downloading? How are we downloading in that CPU these beautiful ways to create this momentum of this action plan? Everyone's success, remember what I mentioned, is going to be different. Nobody's going to fit. There's no cookie fit for all for everybody. So just beware of that. One more last thing I will add to this conversation is I have some prompt questions that I'm going to ask your audience, and everybody can write these questions down if they choose to, or what their one-word response or a sentence is. And we're going to talk about meaning, purpose, and life direction. First, we're going to start off, that's the first topic. What moments, and these are prompt questions, by the way. I would encourage everybody to write these prompt questions because this will do the 90-day. You can form your 90-day action plan based on these prompt questions, right? Okay, so here we go. Meaning, purpose, and life direction. What moments this year made me feel most like myself? That's number one. Myself, everyone has an authentic footprint. No one is the same. Myself could mean very different things for everybody. What moments made me think I'm really proud of how I handled that? So you got to check yourself and figure out is it a proud moment? Is it a not so proud moment? And what was our personal contribution to why it was not a proud moment? If that is a negative thing. If it's a positive thing, obviously double down. Number 3, what parts of myself, of my life felt meaningful and what parts of myself felt empty and disconnected? Very important prompt question. What values it ended up leading me this year, even when I was thinking about them directly? Okay, so what values ended up leading me this year, and then even when I wasn't thinking about them directly? That means that's talking about your subconscious, right? So your values, right? And 2026, you realize how I'm integrating everything in the CPU, right? Okay, so in 2026, how do I want to live in the way that feels more aligned? Aligned is key word, with who I am becoming. So aligned and becoming is very integrative, very, very integrative. So who I'm becoming. If you're doing a 30-day action plan based on these questions, you need to know who that new person is you're becoming in the 90 days, right? The second subset. Here we are: growth, learning, and change. In what ways did I grow this year, even if at the time it felt messy and uncomfortable? Things are going to get messy when you're doing changes in 90 days. So again, did anything shift in my mindset this year that I'm really glad about? What did I push myself to try this year that ended up being good for me? See, so you want to look at the stuff that you did push yourself. And when you didn't, that's okay too. You need rest and rejuvenation is still part of the plan. What challenges forced me to rethink how I approach life? So let's look at the challenges, how you reapproach, you realigned, you restructured. What does that look like for you? In 2026, again, the year of the horse, how do I want to keep up growing and evolving as a person? What does that look like? Right? Now we're moving on to the next section. Habits, lifestyle, and self-care. Sorry, guys, I know I'm a waterfall of information here, but try to keep up. Here we go. Which habits? Very important. Humans devise on habits, on subconscious patterns. So which habits or routines actually supported my well-being this year? And cut out what habits and routines did not support you. Because it's all about routines. That's what we thrive on, and that's what we're on autopilot, right? So next question. What daily, weekly practices made me feel good and more like myself? Where did I overextend myself? And what signs did my body and mind give me? Your body and your mind speaks to you. What are the signals in this year that it has screamed very loudly and you were not listening, right? So very important. And not overextending. This involves self-care. We're dipping into that, but where you're overextending. What self-care did I avoid, delay, minimize, even though I needed it? Okay. In 2026, what habits do I want to commit to truly support my life? What habits do I want to commit to? So in that 90 days, what are we committing to truly support my life in 2026? Gratitude, joys, and meaningful moments. Next one. Who added lightness and comfort to my life when I didn't expect? So check on those people that actually in that whole year of 2025 added some lightness and comfort. Who are those people? Can you name them? Can you touch base with them? Can you check in on these strong people that have checked in on you? So that's important. What small things, routines, places, and conversations made my days feel better? That might tie into the people that we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. What am I grateful for? Gratitude practice is important for now that I might have taken for granted earlier in this year. What moments in 2025 made me feel most alive, fulfilled? Fulfilled is very important. And what does it tell me about where to focus next. We're going into challenges, resiliency, and lessons learned. Now, here we are. What were the hardest moments of this year and how did they shape me? When things got stressful, how did I cope? Your coping mechanisms, very important. What did I learn about myself? What patterns and habits made life harder and than it needed to be? What lessons do I want to take with me so I don't repeat the same cycles? So very important. What lessons do I want to take with me so I don't repeat the same? Why? There's a saying that goes every year. Are you reliving the same year you did the last by repeating the same loop cycles, or are you committing to that 90 days and starting off strong and keeping up the momentum so we don't repeat the same thing that we did 5 years ago, right? In 2026, how do I want to approach my challenges differently and how more intentionally? Very important. Intentional action is momentum. Love and romantic life. When did I learn myself, my needs, and love this year, whether I was single, dating, or in a relationship? Mm-hmm. If I was looking for love, what felt hopeful and what felt discouraging in your romantic relationships? If I wasn't looking, what made the right choice for me this year? What made the right choice for me this year? If I was in a relationship, what helped me grow and what felt really hard? In 2026, what did I want in my love life and how will I showing up, right? In ways that support that. And then I have 2 more slides, bear with me. We have social connections and impact. Who showed up for me in ways that truly mattered this year? Who did I feel most like myself around? That means that's your tribe. That's like Miss Lady K and I. We're just tribes. We vibe. Who did I feel I can be myself with certain people? And you got to notice who you can and who you can't. What relationships felt draining and misaligned and why? How did I support others, contribute, and make someone's life a little bit better? Did we do a lot of that this year? And we need to know that if we did that. In 2026, what kind of people and community did I want to surround myself with? What kind of community, right? Future orientations and intentions. What do I want to carry forward for 2025 because it brought something good in my life? What do I want to leave behind because it no longer fits who I am? So if you want to leave something and you're shedding like the snake that it is of 2026, what are we leaving behind? And it no longer fits who I am and who you're becoming, right? Intentionally becoming. And then what parts of my life feel ready for a change and a fresh start? What kind of energy, mindset, and attitude do I want to bring in the new year? And what is one intention in 2026 I want to center my whole year around? What is that one keyword and intentional practice that I want to do? And I finish off with that as something that we can all try to do as tangible prompt questions and a 90-day plan to kind of dive deep into. Because I think when we ask the right questions, then we find the answers and then we find the pathway forward. And I pass that mic back to you, whoever needs to. Yeah.
That was an energetic download.
Yes, it was. I had to say it because it's coming through. So I wanted to give your audience an actionable plan, some kind of prompt question to think about.
And the beautiful thing is that myself and Joan came up with some questions as well. So I'm going to share that towards the end.
Gotcha.
Of this podcast. So stick around because, this is what we are here for. We are here to help humanity. And listening to you, Pritvi, it clearly shows us the passion. We could clearly see the passion that you're here to help. You are here to be of service to humanity. Because we all want to see each other succeed.
Oh, absolutely.
And what are we doing to help someone else to succeed at this time of the year? There are many people who are struggling at this point in time of the year, struggling so much. And what are we doing to help that individual? And helping the individual is giving them the right tools that they can help themselves. And giving them the tools is like we're giving you questions that you can sit, you can pause, and you can ask yourself these questions at this time of the year. Pritvi outlined a list of questions. If you didn't hear the questions, you could always watch the replay. You can always pause it, and you can always write the questions down. And myself and Joan, we have some questions for you at the end of the podcast as well. Because this time of the year is a difficult time for a lot of people. It is difficult for a lot of people. But when you can hear a question, it could send a signal to the subconscious mind and help the subconscious mind to analyze what's really happening in your life. And there is where the declutter comes in. Because what you're going to keep and what you're going to let go, so you can have a flow. And I really like when you touched on a snake, because let's look at nature right now in the United States. All the leaves on the trees gone. That clearly indicates to us it's time for a period of rest, then renewal.
That's correct.
So what we need to do as individuals, we need to step, if we have to step away from social media, if we got to step away from relationships, we need to do that for our personal self as well. We got to step back, we got to pause, we got to analyze, and we got to recalibrate, release, because we want to step into that phase of renewal for 2026. And we don't want to wait until we get to 2026, then go into that renewal. We need to start from now. We need to start from this present moment. Because when you start from this present moment, you are preparing your mind and you're speaking to the subconscious mind for the narratives that you've been running on for years. The narratives that it's really not serving you any longer. So we need to change those narratives going into 2026, because whatever narrative you're running on internal, that is what you're going to experience in the external. So you got to change the narrative in the internal so you can start to see the external start to change for you. So we are here to help you today to do a check-in. Myself and Joan like to call it a life audit as well. Because when you're doing an audit, you're really going into fine details. You're seeing what relationships are serving you. And Pritvi, I really like when you touch on that. Because some relationships at this point in time, it just need to go. It's not serving you any good. And you really need to check in on yourself and say, you know what? This is not serving me any longer, and I need to let it go. Be honest with yourself. This is a time for you to be honest with yourself. Because it's only when you can be honest with yourself, you will get the honest results that you're looking for. And another thing as well, you have to be disciplined enough. Whatever you are starting, all these action plans, you have to be disciplined enough to carry through with it.
The commitment.
This is not an overnight something. It's not the Amazon delivery. It's going to show up at your doorsteps tomorrow morning. Right?
Yep.
This is action steps that you put into place that to help you as an individual to recalibrate, reflect, focus on the direction that you're heading. That is why we created this space. And for the next few weeks, we're going to be really coming with some hard hitters, because you know why? We need you to change the narratives so you can prosper, so you can flourish, so you can bloom. So that is why we're going to be bringing in some real good guests for you. All we do here is for you. So you can pivot and move forward. But when you're moving forward with all the modalities that you need to move forward into 2026. This is the time for you to really step into that spaciousness of possibility. Because you know what? You are limitless.
Mm-hmm.
You are limitless. You have that creativity within you. Everything you see around you, it was once a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And someone bring it to life. And just like how that person could bring something to life, you are pregnant with possibilities and you can bring it to life. Don't make fear paralyze you. Start from where you're at. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. Just start from where you're at this point in time. Will, I'm going to toss the mic to you. Pritvi, great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Will, we're not hearing you well. I guess he's having some technical difficulties with his phone or laptop. Will, you hearing us? But we are not hearing you.
Okay, so maybe he can hear us, but
okay.
We got
Can
you.
you hear me now?
We hear you. Yes,
Okay.
we hear you.
All right. Okay.
Talk to the subconscious mind.
All right. I was about to say, Pritvi is a heck of a guest.
Yeah, she is.
Oh,
you know,
you're so sweet.
I know you're used to speaking to people, you know, but here's the thing. It is rare. I come from television, right? Where you're used to seeing people that can speak to an audience and hold attention. And in the podcast industry, so to speak, you have a lot of people out there who are doing podcasts, but they haven't quite grown over to that next level of it. And then they're not supposed to, because this is a very unique little, it's not quite what people think it is. Like, this is easy to do. It's not that easy to do. And the second part is, do you have the type of personality that can hold the person's attention that's going to watch this podcast or listen to that podcast? And so it's rare that you can run across people who can do what you just did. Okay, I don't even need to be a guest on this show today. It's going to be a short appearance by me, because I wasn't expected to be on the show, but I'm here. And you set up a thing to have a good, strong finish for the show too, because those feedback loops on those questions that you put out there, that's going to cause people to have to think a little bit, you know. And so that makes a good interaction. But you've put enough out there to where they have to interact with the show, which is what Karen and Joan do this show for, is interaction, have people interact with it, right? So
that's right.
I'm going to pick it up here and only speak for a little bit here, but you did something that I thought the show should be, and I'm sure Karen and John, when they came up with this idea to title the show what they did, that people were thinking, well, okay, when they saw the title come up, well, decluttering, what, you know, all this talking about is throwing away stuff and that kind. No. When she approached me with this title, I immediately went to spiritual, because that's where people are not quite figuring out. The world has flipped, and Karen and I have discussed this on many occasions. The world has flipped, and it's more spiritual than what people think it is right now. And that's what they're missing. You know, I read an article, I think it was yesterday or Friday, but it was talking about women, a certain group of women are now talking about men keeping, right? And I had never heard the term men keeping. I didn't even know what that was. So I said, let me read this and see what this is about. And as I read and got into it real deep, it blended into that red pill mix of the men saying women not doing enough, and then, the women are fighting back saying the men, they don't want to do a 50-50 split and that kind of nonsense. But here's the thing: the men really got my attention on. These women were saying that even though they had boyfriends and husbands, that they felt that these men were expecting too much from them emotionally, because the men were in a state to where they were treating their mate as their best friend and confidant, right? And so they were saying that they didn't want that responsibility. They didn't want the man to be, their best friend or bring his emotional issues to them and try to talk them out through the women. And so they were saying, no, we don't want that. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading through this, I'm like, okay, now these have to be people who haven't reached a level of intimacy where they understand that once you cross that threshold, that's where you are. A guy who will open himself up to his woman like that is basically telling her that I trust you, and everything that I experience, I want you to understand what I'm going through, why I'm going through it. I know, we're raised separately as far as men and women are, and so that idea that men won't open up is misleading. A man will actually, if he has a really good best friend as a man, he will open up to that man and tell him things that he won't tell anybody else. But if he feels secure enough with his woman that that's not going to be used against him at some point, he will tell her everything that makes him up to who he is. And that's what I thought relationships were supposed to be, right? It's where you get to the level of where when you get to that point, that means that you unconditionally love the other person. You don't have any, and that's what I got out of that is these women, when they were complaining about it, was like, okay, you obviously do not have a level of pure unconditional love for this person. If he's opening up to you and you're complaining about him being that way to your girlfriend, then what does that do for him? If you're saying that you don't really want to hear his situation, his problems, whatever he may be going through or experiencing, and you're just kind of sitting there and you're tone deaf to what he's saying to you, then you're not connected. You're just, somebody that you basically are at that point an associate, but you just haven't told him that that's what you are. And so when you're decluttering, all of this stuff has to come into play, because without a true connection to who you are, then you can't do exactly what you two ladies have already suggested here. You can't declutter completely because you lose some aspect of who you are in the process of trying to declutter. So you're going to have little spots of where you see piles of, clutter, so to speak. And so that person hasn't really fulfilled their own expectations of themselves, first of all. So they can't meet anybody else's expectations. And so, as you mentioned, going into 2026, it's a resurrection year for you. It's a time, the number's only one through 9, right? And so we're back at a 1. And so as we go through this, you need to resurrect who you want to be, not who you've been, but who you want to be, and then be that. That's the only way you can actually get to where you really want to go. We talk about this all the time on the show about you have to be it before you can actually see it. And if you cannot step fully into that, because you keep having people tell you, well, you just imagine that, or you're not really that. I want to go deep into this since Pritvi has brought this up. But this gives me a chance to really break into this a little bit. In your Bible,
Go
in
ahead,
Genesis
Will.
Genesis 1:16, okay, through 27. Now, if you're religious, this is going to touch you where you don't want to be touched at, but I'm going to bring it to you so you can understand that everything has flipped and you need to really understand what you are and what you are experiencing. In the Bible, if you read it, in Genesis, like I said, 1:16 through 27, God itself, God itself imagined the universe, Earth, the planets, us, animals. Imagine this stuff. It says so in the Bible. So now, if God, to you that's religious, imagine before creating, which Lady K alluded to, then what does that tell you? Because see, you have people who say they believe and they have faith, but then they are going basically not off of what they have read in the Bible. They have listened to, pastors and preachers yell and holler and tell you what's in the Bible because he's supposed to be an intermediary between you and God, which there is no separation there. You're all one big ball of energy, okay? Now, but my point in telling you this is because if God has an imagination, which the Bible said it does, so there's no argument there. If you believe what you read between those pages, then you don't have an argument point. If that's so, then what's wrong with your imagination? How come you can't see yourself being whatever it is that you thought you wanted to be and think you should be? How come you can't have that same process of processing information and figuring out that, okay, this is what it's going to be? And as Karen said, everything is spiritual before it becomes material. But see, you get lost in that because you keep thinking that this is all woo-woo stuff, but you can't, all this stuff is the same stuff. You can't take the Bible over here and then say, well, that's woo-woo over there. So if it's not said out by my pastor, then it can't possibly be. But if you open the Bible and read it for yourself, you are going to get shocked because everything that you think you know, you do not know. You've been told it. And that's the thing. Like I just told you what God did before it supposedly created us. But if God had to imagine us before he could create us, that should tell you something without me having to say it all out for you. You should, that should click in your brain that you have to think about some things. Because if God has an imagination, then everything that you ever thought that you were changes. It changes everything about who you are. But you have to be strong enough to own that. And if you're not strong enough to own that, then this journey that we call life, you'll never figure out why you were here. You won't even know what your purpose is.
Absolutely.
That's why people are having this trouble, because they're confused about all of this stuff, and all of it is simple. It's simple. It's not complex. This stuff is really simple, but you have to want to know the knowledge. You can't have to, you don't want to just exist and walk through life. You know, you see a lot of people doing the one eye signal and throwing up the, look, and then they ask the question, well, is the Illuminati real? How can I get in the Illuminati? You got people asking how they get into it, right?
Right.
Here's the thing. You already are a member of the Illuminati, but you don't even know it. All Illuminati means is illuminated light. Here's the thing. The inner circle of that name, they're doing some other stuff, okay? But the overall goal of the Illuminati bleeds down into every part of society that exists today that you walk around in daily and function in. Because the goal of the Illuminati itself was to bring the world into one big full circle of connection. Every organization that you're a part of moves in that direction. The Illuminati is not seen anywhere because it's not a single entity. It's a it's a system, and it's sprinkled throughout society. So whenever you are standing somewhere and you see somebody, if they know the signals, give a signal and you pick it up and you're like, okay, well, that person is a member, maybe. Why are they throwing that up? It's not evil. This had nothing to do with good or bad, evil or good. All that stuff is man-made. That's created stuff to keep you off your balance, to keep you outside of where you don't know. Like I just told you, you're a member of the Illuminati, but you don't even know you're a member of the Illuminati. Everybody is. There's no single group. So all these other functions that these other groups, the purpose that they serve for the name of the Illuminati is to spread tentacles throughout society. That's why all these organizations exist. So no matter what name of the organization that you belong to or have some type of function to, relation with, it functions off the same system to bring you under the system of what the Illuminati actually is. And what that is, remember, a one world government with everything moving in the same direction. And we are basically living that right now. You can see it happening. Money, everything. It all goes right back into the center. It all comes back. So there's no one single person that's anything that you function on a daily basis that you encounter with, right? So no matter where you go, what you do, you have to understand that you are enough. And that's what I got out of this men's keeping article. That these people, these women that are complaining about the men basically opening up to them emotionally, they don't think that they're enough to handle something like that. But then put it on the other shoe. The man is expected to understand and have patience and go through, experience whatever situation that woman is having. He's expected to have that experience too, and be, as Karen said, the caring about it, have some empathy for it. These are words Lady J likes to use a lot. and mindset and growth mindset. So it's the same thing, but here's something that for me myself I like to see happen. If I get into a relationship with a particular woman, right, and I'm all in, at that point, everything that I am, she's got to reflect that. But I would know that going into that because I have true unconditional love for myself. So, and doing that, I know that everybody I encounter is just a reflection of that love that I have for myself. So I don't see, now this doesn't mean that I'm not going to run into people that's not going to have, good thoughts about me or have other things, but that's a whole different thing. But everybody that I encounter that's going to mirror me, I'm going to see that feeling of emotion of love given back to me. They're going to care about me because I've given them the same energy that I feel about myself. I got a caring energy about myself. I love myself unconditionally, and that's how I see them. So they feed that back to me. Now, if I come into it and it's a reflection, then that's some aspect of some part of me that I need to work on. So going into this, when you're decluttering, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to release what's behind you and move into what's going to possibly be much better for you. As a matter of fact, let me read something to you right quick. Let me flip my page here. In Philippians 3:13 through 14 in your Bible, okay? Because I'm talking spiritual here. Forget about what is behind you. That's all it says.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can take that and make that a motto for yourself, now you can start to forget about things that cause you issues, which you shouldn't have that anyway. But psychologically, as Pritvi mentioned there, psychologically, you connect yourself with what's familiar to you. So how does that something make you feel? And that's what people in general, that's how we function. Okay? So whatever event in your life in the past that felt good at the time that you were doing that or experienced that, then that's what comes back to you. So everybody that you encounter that takes you just a little piece into that memory, you like them. You're not going to see any large disagreements between you and that person because they're familiar to you, and then that creates chemical reaction, and then you have things going on in your chemical releasing that make the dopamine releases that make you feel good. And so when you see them or greet them, you feel good about them because that's part of you, a good memory. And if you had a bad memory, it's the same thing. So when you reject somebody, that's basically because they remind you of some moment in your life that something happened that was really bad that you feel bad about and didn't like. And that person at that moment is the physical existence of that memory. And so this stuff, like I said, is not that complicated, but you have to want to know this stuff and you have to want to live it.
True.
Take this, ladies. when because when people get into religion, they read the Bible or they go to a lot of people, they be around a lot of people that's religious, right? So you get a certain type of emotion when you just in that environment. So people start carrying themselves like that environment. It's called framing the environment is what it is. Where you create an environment and then you'll respond to whatever that environment is. That's how you're going to be. You act accordingly to what that group is at that time. So that's why you see a lot of people who will talk softly and bless you, have a blessed day. You know the sayings, we all have heard it. The Lord's going to keep you, he'll make a way, all this stuff. That's the reason they speak like that, though, because they frame the environment. So they carry that around with them now thinking that's enough. But it's not enough. You have to become it. If you're not willing to make the sacrifice to cross that line even further and fully become it, then you cannot keep that, and that becomes your character. You can't keep it because it's fake.
Absolutely.
But when you actually embrace it fully, that's who you are. You don't have to put an act on. You have people that the code switch between their language and how they speak, depending on what group they're in and what the group they're around. But once you make the full commitment to that belief system, not faith, belief, faith and belief, two different things.
Sure.
Once you buy into that belief system, that's who you become. Sure. And then everything that's going to materialize in front of you, as Pritvi mentioned this, because we're pure energy. Everything that you embrace from that point on will be a reflection. It'll be that. It'll be you. Amen. It'll be you. Sure. So that energy is going to come back to you. So anything that you want, start with the imagination first. If God can imagine and it becomes material, so can you. And it tells you in the Bible that you are God, but you don't want to believe that because guess what? No pastor told you that you were. It told you God is in the sky somewhere. And so that's how you think that you separate from that. But the Bible itself, if you read it, tells you you are God. See, so all the parables and the secret language used in the Bible is simple to understand if you take the time and want to know it. But you have to actually open yourself up to receive this information.
Absolutely.
See, and that's where people get into a block and they don't want to receive it. So if you don't do that, you can't declutter. So you can pretend like you can declutter, okay? But remember what I just said, it's not who you really are. So guess what's going to happen? The first time you get some pressure put on you, the real you is going to come to the forefront, and then people are going to be looking like, what? I didn't know. I thought that it was different than that. No. Once you really are who you are, you don't have to pretend. You're that person all the time.
Sure.
All of the time.
So true.
So it's this stuff, the decluttering, especially for the year 2026, because we're in a different time. Life has so much to offer you. And as Pritvi mentioned, there are opportunities that are unlimited.
Sure.
And she took it down to the job relation and business stuff, which is good because that if one door closes for you in a job or in business, another one is surely opening for you. But you have to have your eyes open and your ears to hear it, and then move in that direction because there's a whole new direction opening for you right now. I'm going to mention this and then I'm going to shut up and and let you ladies get back in here so y'all can finish this up. I have a company that does a lot of research. We sell data to companies, right?
Right.
There are industries, and I say this all the time. My company runs as a nonprofit, but I did that for tax purposes, okay? But here's the thing. That those type of businesses that are nonprofit right now, that usually are somewhere begging for money or asking for help, those are going to become business models because they have everything that they need in place, but they don't understand what they actually have. So they think that the name have told them that they need to ask others to help them. They don't really need that help as far as being able to generate the revenue that they need. They can sell services, products, and so forth, create stuff that's going to help people. Just like they're helping people, they can sell stuff too. But they don't understand that though. They go into the whole world of, I can do nothing more than, ask for this. but you can actually help. And we have tax laws that are actually open that you don't know about that actually will allow you to stay that way and operate. I mean, I'm gonna say this: the NFL, which everybody kind of knows that we're talking about football, they operated as a nonprofit organization up until a few years ago. I think it was
Wow.
2015 or so before they finally
Wow.
went for profit, right? So the name NFL is still nonprofit, and then the teams under the NFL banner operate as for profit. But before, all of it was nonprofit. Okay, so now we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So if the NFL office operates as a nonprofit organization, what did I just say? A multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're running their stuff. And we got the same thing going on with AI. OpenAI is supposedly a nonprofit corporation. Okay, supposedly, wink, wink. Okay, so
Big stuff.
they get all this money
William
from
is
the
dropping some
government.
gold stuff here. This is gold.
The
This is
government
gold.
has propped them up. They're giving them a whole lot of money, and then they're selling also stocks, which they're
Yeah.
refurbishing every day, getting new members in for stock. Okay, now as far as AI goes, it's not selling well to corporations just yet. The general public is using AI, Chat GPT and that kind of thing, but it's mostly free. Okay, and then the little bit that you're paying is not where their money really is. They need big money from big corporations to be doing what they are doing, right? But they can't sell that right now because AI is not working the way they have sold it to be. And corporations have figured out that, okay, we're ahead on the selling aspect of it, but the application of it is not, it's not doing much for. We don't see a whole lot of gain. And when we're going into this, we're not, but they haven't learned how to actually utilize it yet either, though. So that we've got two things going on at the same time, right? But all this money that AI, the tech industry itself is getting is coming from the government. So they're getting on that little that little candy wheel, I call it, to where they're getting all this government money to sustain themselves. And we're in a bubble, so to speak, because again, they're not selling that much in the product manner. They're selling it in the way of speaking it for you to buy into it. So they're giving it to your subconscious that it's going to be doing all of this stuff. But it's not able to do that right now because all it is basically is a faster version of a process. That's all it actually is right now. But there's a new version of it that's coming online, and this is where we're going with the next 50 years or 60 years of what tech is going to look like. AI right now can't reason, right? But the new version of AI that's coming is going to be able to reason, which is that's where we have the separation point at right now, because we as humans, we can do that. Emotionally, we can process some information and know how it makes us feel. And that's what the AI can't do right now. But they've got a model that they're working on that's going to be able to do this. When that comes online, now that's when we really have the threat from AI knocking the human out of the way. Because if this thing is able to process like we do, then we're basically going to be at its mercy at this point, because once it gets out there, you're not going to be able to shut it off once it gets out, because if it can reason, it can tap into other systems where you won't be able to track it down and shut it down completely. So it'll know that you're trying to shut it off, and once it escapes, there's no pulling it back into the bottle thing. It's out there. So when that version comes online, that's going to change society, as they keep on telling us society is supposed to be changing this year and then going into 2026, right? Which some of that is happening, but that's these greedy corporations doing that on their own right now, because AI still can't fully replace humans in certain jobs. The white collar jobs,
Mr. Will.
they're not able to do that just yet. But when this new model comes into play, it's going to be able to do everything. And right now, actually, there are some portions of the legal system where the people that have those protected jobs are now looking over their shoulder, because AI can be a judge, it can be a lawyer, and do it better than the judges and the lawyers are doing it right now, unbiased. But again, It can do it biasly too. But if this thing is going to come in line and have its own reasoning processes, it's going to do the job better than a human would be. Because that human is going to prejudge you when you come into that court.
That's
And
right.
even though they claim they don't do this, but we all, it's a wink. So we all know that goes on. And depending on who
That's
that
right.
person is and what organization they belong to, remember, all this stuff, Illuminati, I mentioned at the top, all this stuff is connected. So if you go in and you give a certain hand signal and that judge or whoever is a member of that group, they now know that you know. And this
That's
is
right.
what we're talking about, knowledge. That's all the occult actually stands for, is unknown knowledge. But if I give a hand signal somewhere, like let's say I do this right here, I touch the top of my head. If you're a member of a certain group, if I do that and come down, then I'm telling you that I'm having a good day and I'm fine. Now, but
Right.
to everybody else, all I did was just touch my head. They don't know the sign. But for somebody that's a member of that particular group, if I give that sign, they know, and they'll give me the sign back. They give me a different sign, but I'll know that they know. So that's how this society is working. You got symbols and signs are all over the place. So that has to become part of who you are too, so you'll know, so you don't be on the outside looking in and you start seeing things happening and you try to figure out what's going on. This is why it's going on, because this is the way they have it set up to go. And that's where we're headed. So if you want to declutter for 2026, these ladies have everything that you need, and they've told you 3 or 4 times, get you a pen and some paper, right? Because you're going to want to write some of this stuff down and then go back to it and utilize it at a time when your mind is really ready for it. Okay, you might not be ready for it right now, because when you do a decluttering, you're going to leave some part of you in the past, and that is hard for people to do, because it scares them. Change scares people, and then you talk to every day about not changing, but you have to. So that's it for me.
Wow.
But I like to thank
Really
you for
good.
letting me be a part of this, Karen. But you have to get a show back where I can stay the whole time. And I would like to be a co-host, a co-guest with Pritvi on whatever subject matter we come up with. But that woman there is a
I
very
would love
unique
for you
person.
to add me on social.
Yeah, on LinkedIn. Yes, on
Okay.
LinkedIn. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
Phil,
have
on
more of these
LinkedIn.
conversations.
Yes.
We can
I'm
do
so
that.
happy.
Let me say this before I go. I get a lot of DMs with that suggestion from people who I may have wrote an article or something, and LinkedIn is probably, I get asked this a lot, Karen, where's the best place to
Yes.
catch me at? And that's why I don't really give out a lot of different sites and platforms that you can catch me on, because I'm on LinkedIn all the time, and that's where you can see stuff that I do. I write articles on there all the time, and so you can see where, and I of course will put something on a post on somebody else's message to kind of start a conversation about what they've wrote something about. But I get that a lot of can you send me something back to let us know that we can connect. And so I get a whole lot of that, and that lets me know that people are connecting with what I say.
Yes.
But I'm also connecting with what they say, because I'm listening to what people say.
That's right.
and what they write and how they think. And so I'm processing that and saying, okay, nobody else might not want to, take on that, but let me step in here and see what I can say that take this conversation somewhere else, to where people can see that this person doesn't have any real bad, intentions on what they're saying. It's just who they are, and what they're trying to do is get a point out, and so you don't have to judge them about that. So I don't care what they're talking about, I'll comment on it, And so we should be able to function like that in a society that's healthy, and not have anything to where it becomes personalized, to where I don't like you because you don't, agree with what I'm saying. When I write something or say something, all I'm trying to do is trigger your thinking process or opinion, to where we can be separate on it, and that's okay. I don't have any disagreement about that. So whatever you respond on that is going to be fine with me, because I've now got you where we can at least have a conversation about it. That's all my point is. So, ladies, thank you for letting me be a part of this. But Karen, work on this. I don't know how long it'll take to do this, whatever show you come up with for us, but make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen, Will.
I know you are. I know you are. I know you are.
And will
Go ahead.
feel free to connect with me. Thank
I
you so
will
much.
send you
And
Will information, Privity, and
please do.
I'm gonna send you Privity information as well. So you know
Good
it's not
deal.
somebody stalking you.
Right. I get some of that too. Yeah, I get some of that too. Oh boy, but it's okay though, you know.
Don't worry, I'm
It's
not
just
part of
so
the
much.
occult, Mr. Will. I'm not part of the cult. But I
Okay.
got I want to definitely talk about we definitely have some conversations to talk
Yeah.
about because
I
I
can
love that
see
you
that.
pulled out the Genesis excerpt. That's very wonderful. That
Right.
shows you're
Yes.
very
Well,
much online, man.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's good. It's good. You know, I'm gonna say this number go. Karen and I and Lady J, we have a really. It's hard to say exactly how our energy combined, but when we come together, the three of us at one time, we're feeding
Yeah.
off of each other. Even
Yes.
when we do a show like this, for instance, and if I'm part of a panel and the two of them are of course, are going to be here, unless something
Right.
comes up, one of them can't be. But we are usually always around or near the same ideas and how the show is going. And so we're going back and forth, feeding off of each other's energy and
Mhm.
the other guests that's on that panel. And so we kind of know how to lead ourselves into where the other one will come in and finish
And come
up
in
or
and
start
jump
that
in.
conversation. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's rare that you can get a connection like that with people, you know?
Sure. Sure.
I will
But
say
ladies,
Miss Karen and Joan are very, very special people.
they
Very,
are.
very special
They are.
people.
People
God
just
bless the
don't know.
mother that made them. I'll be honest. God bless the
Yes.
mother that made them because there are very, very special souls on this earth. You don't find people like that often. So I definitely
Agree
have to give her.
100%.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right, ladies,
both of
I'm
you.
gone.
Thank you, Will, for coming on. Thank you so much. We'll stay in
Thank you.
touch.
I will be. And
Thank
nice to
you.
meet you, Privity. Have a good show. Close it
Oh,
out because you ladies have
likewise.
already got it set.
She's gonna
All
close
All
right.
it
right.
good.
Okay, I'm gone, man.
Thank you, Will. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care, Will.
All right.
Will touching some great pointers
Oh,
there,
yes.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
really bring it home there. And whilst he was talking, you know what came to mind? Success. We all looking for success.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to achieve success. But success is not just about what you achieve. It's about what you chose to carry and what you chose to lay down. That's success.
Mm.
And what are you choosing to step away from that is draining your energy? Previously, you talk about energy before and draining because you also touched on the CPU, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is draining your energy? And we also need to step away from draining habits.
Mm.
We need to celebrate each small act of release. Because when we are releasing, we need to celebrate that, you know what, I am releasing this at this point in time in my life, and we have to anchor into what we are chosen instead. We have to believe in what we're going to be chosen. That means to say we got to define our values, our goals, our feelings that you want to cultivate in the new year.
Cultivate.
Right?
Saying these very big words. Very amazing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Cultivate. And the next thing we need to do is we need to shift our perspectives. We
I
need
want
to
to answer this question because it keeps coming up. I don't know if you
go
see
ahead,
it.
Privity.
How do you explain self-sabotage in your energy? I've seen that
Yes.
question like 5 times. So I'm going to answer this gentleman. Sorry to cut you, my dear sister.
That's
I
Dr.
hope
Ross.
Oh, Dr. Rass. Okay. Fantastic question. I did write your response on my notepad, but I didn't want to cut my dear sister. She also is an amazing powerhouse. I want to answer this very quickly, if I may, my darling.
Sure.
I did answer. I'm going to answer this in a very careful way. Okay. Because everything I do is intentional. It's very intentional. Okay. So your question was how, I'm going to read it to everybody. How do you explain self-sabotage in your energy and hijacking scenario? Very good question.
Mm-hmm.
When we are
Yes.
thinking about this world and how it's operating in 2025, whether we're talking about our personal contribution to this world, our personal footprint. Remember what I mentioned earlier about our energetic footprint, right? So everybody has an energetic footprint. That could be a self-sabotage energetic footprint. That,
Right.
I mean, we have to check ourselves, because whatever's coming into our reality and what we're manifesting, what's mirroring us, very important. If you feel that you didn't end off this year on a great note, and we can excel in one area of our life, but we may be failing in another. So we're all
Absolutely.
human beings. We cannot be making all the cylinders spin all at the same time. So to go back to this nice gentleman's question, how do you explain self-sabotage? Self-sabotage shows up as a mirror.
Right.
When you see that you're doing a self-sabotage, that has to do with your inner narrative, that has to do with your inner programming, that has to do with your energetic responses.
Absolutely.
Your energetic responses, what does that mean? You remember the saying that everybody knows here, we're all adults, we know this, but I'm gonna reverberate. The saying goes, 90% of how we respond to life is what happens and what catalyzes thereafter, what happens after. It trickles, right? It's a ripple effect. It's a vibrational effect, right? So how we respond to life reverberates or vibrates or ripples, whatever wordage you want to use, verbiage. It vibrates and it has this lasting effect, and that lasting effect turns into people that we attract. And that people that we attract is the physical mirror to check yourself. What are you attracting? If the partner or the friendship or the partnership or the whatever you got going on in your inner circle, or even in your external circle, whatever you got going on internally or externally, how are you showing up self-sabotage? Is your inner narrative and how you respond to life negative? Is it impulsive? Are we impulsive in our energetic response? How are we responding to life? Are we impulsive in the way we do things? That's a self-sabotage behavior. To answer your question, if you are impulsive in your decision making, as your adults, we have to slow down. Even though society runs on instant gratification, that is not natural and human being like in wellness. If we're talking about holistic wellness, in reference to holistic wellness, it means to slow down, reflect, and reevaluate, and then adopt the action plan and behavior. Nothing happens without action. Energy moves. We are moving creatures. We cannot be, when you're self-sabotaging, you will find yourself in a hole. If you are in a hole in any area of your life, it means you're self-sabotaging. That means you allowed something to hijack. Hopefully I'm answering your question, Mr. Rasta. You are allowing yourself to get hijacked. What are we allowing and what are we resisting? Right? Those are two very big questions.
Yes.
Your biggest resistance is your biggest breakthrough for the year. The biggest things that you're avoiding is your biggest resistance.
Absolutely.
Your better life on the other side is your better life on the other side is the outside of whatever we're resisting and whatever we're avoiding. Your greatest breakthrough is on the other side of those two things, resisting and avoiding.
Absolutely.
Resisting and avoiding, again, is also under self-sabotage. That is how we are hijacking. That's how we're allowing ourselves to get hijacked. So hopefully, and now I'm going to just elude one more thing, Miss Karen. I am going to talk about one more thing. It's very important. This society is extremely rigged. And this is, I need to say this. This is very important because this is coming on. This society that we live in today, doesn't matter what part of the world, whether it's a third world country, whether it's America we're speaking about, this society and this global situation, and Mr. William alluded on this when he talked about the spirituality and the two sides to what's happening. This is either systematic. You're dealing with the world that's dealing with high elite systems. They have the key to that system. Whether you want to talk about it, that it's a cult or not, that occult system is dealing with a system that we're not aware of. How do you get part and be aware without being part of that occult system? Is bringing yourself online in your brain, hijacking that CPU with reprogramming. How do we allow less hijacking from the viruses and the bad programming and the blah, blah, blah? And how do we reinstall the proper hardware so that we run on the inner narratives and the belief systems that operate on a higher frequency? The society split between two people. And I heard a podcast, and I'm going to share this with you, with a woke person. This is someone that I admire. If anybody wants to connect with me and I can share that video, I will. This gentleman mentioned on a podcast, and it's very brilliant, and I would just paraphrase here. They are the elite, the top elite that controls a huge part of this world, is literally using AI to be something where we're on autopilot, where we're not thinking of ourselves. Remember, Mr. Williams mentioned about the Genesis and how imagination and thinking is very important. They're actually trying to kill society. One of their biggest plans right now on the conference table of the elite is to kill thinking and imagination and creative people and ideas. They're trying to kill the human mind, so we are system reliant on AI to give us those ideas. You're born with these gifts. Everyone is born with talents and inner gifts. There's no one on this earth. You can come from the poorest neighborhood and have amazing, amazing talent. That's why we have the rags to riches story. So there's nothing. What I want you guys to understand, split yourself. Are you part of the society that is creative, is God-centered, is getting that kind of getting your inspiration with nature, getting in tune with your life, getting in tune with what we have to do? Or are you in that society, part of society that's running on autopilot, that's running on rushedness, that's running on this hustle culture, that's reliant on AI every time so that you don't have these AI systems? What are we running on? Because we have to know this is a spiritual war that we're dealing with. 2026, you want to come up with the armor. The armor is your belief systems. What can you rely on? Your belief systems. Doesn't matter what God you want to call. Could be the Bible. That's wonderful. Whatever book that is of God. You dive into that, even if it's 5 and 10 minutes. Self-sabotage and hijacking. What are we? The hijacking is negative. It's poisonous. You have to be careful with detoxing your social media feeds, your TikTok. They want a distracted society. The more distracted you are, the more clutter you will have. And you will accept the autopilot that's being given to you. You will accept what is being dished out to you. What's going to be dished out because it's convenient. Never accept what's convenient in the society. If I can leave any lasting thoughts and words to you, my kind brothers and sisters, is don't accept what's instant gratification, what is given to you on a plate, a nice platter that's dished out on these social media, that's dished out on all these things. Don't. You are a thinking brain. Your brain, doesn't matter what disability you may have, God has installed you with everything you need when you came in your mother's womb. Everyone is capable. There is no one left behind here. I believe in the thought in society, everyone can win. Miss Joan can win, Miss Karen can win, and we all can win. Mr. Will can win. This is not about gender. They want to side us with right and left wing. They want to side us with man and woman. Who is better and da-da-da-da. No, it's not about that. Don't think life is not black and white. Absolutely. There are shades of gray and color.
Yes.
You need to know that.
We are a kaleidoscope of colors. Yeah. Yeah.
So I leave that with your, I'm so sorry, but I wanted to say that that's so important. The system is already rigged. You have to know how to step out of that rigged system. What's being conveniently curated with AI for you to just take
Yes.
instead of creating your own ideas and thinking systems, creating your own system before the end of this year, that you're starting with that own inner system for those 90 days,
Right.
and you continue to keep that momentum going.
Yes.
Step out of the AI, step out of what's being dished and handed to you just like this. Don't take it. That's the red apple. You bite the apple, that's why you have apple. Hello. So you want to talk about OS systems? Let's talk about it. Okay? I'm just joking, but you guys get the point. Okay?
Yeah.
These are all major systems. Apple is $1 billion system. We're talking about systems here. The world runs on rigged education, which is a system. The world on a cult system, that's Illuminati. You got to know these systems to break free from the system. You can't take what's convenient and then expect to make changes in your life. It doesn't work.
Sure.
We are rigged.
Sure.
So you have to step out of the system. That's what the holistic alternative lifestyle helps you to do. That's what Miss J and is coming on service for in her life, is to step out of these systems. You have the power. Everyone does. Sorry, Miss J. Miss K, go ahead.
That's cool. Oh my goodness, Pritvi, you're on fire.
I just had to say it. I had to answer that question. How do you know? Self-sabotage. Hijack.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying, because we all tend to self-sabotage ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because of the conditioning.
That's the thing.
That's why we self-sabotage ourselves.
But where does the conditioning come from? It's the systems that's being delivered and handed to you.
We are not realizing that we are creative beings.
Correct.
We are not realizing that we have a choice.
Yes, you do.
And
always.
The choice is ours to make.
That's
so
right,
if,
my dog.
as you said something like that, if something is handed to you on a platter, you have the choice if to eat it or to leave it. That's your choice.
That's right, my darling.
So the thing is that we are living and we are just accepting what is being offered. We are not.
You don't have to.
Exactly. We are not even stepping back, analyzing what's in front of us. And we're not seeing if this, should I really go with this, or should I follow my gut feeling? That is why I really like when you talk about divine discernment.
That's right.
Because we need to discern things that we need to have in our lives and things we don't need in our lives.
Yes.
That is why we are really talking about decluttering. Because letting go is returning to a life of alignment. When you let go, it's not losing, it's returning to yourself. And returning to yourself is the peace, to be at peace. You're returning to a life that truly serves your growth and your evolution.
That's right.
That's the life you're returning to when you decide to declutter. And another thing too is that we often hold on to relationship and habits or identities out of fear, right? Or
That's
obligation.
Right, that's right. Oh, obligation's a good one. Yes.
But you know what? The act of release is one of the most powerful steps towards success and wholeness. You need to look at yourself and say to yourself, I honor where I have been and I chose where I am going. Honor rest and strategy.
Ooh, good one. Love that, sis. I'm giving you a high five on that one.
We need to rest in power. Your power source. in
Oh,
your
yeah.
quiet moments to just recharge. We are heading towards the end. We only got a few more days to end off 2025, you know. And these days that are going to lead us up to end 2025, we really need to honor rest. And
Mm,
when we rest, we need to
mm-hmm,
honor those quiet moments to recharge ourselves. And we
mm-hmm.
need to build accountability through communities. Look
Yes.
for
Ooh,
communities,
accountability. Mm-hmm,
right? Look for communities that is really growing with you, who is going to help
mm-hmm,
you with your evolution. Because a
mm-hmm,
collective support,
mm-hmm.
it helps you now to make that commitment to yourself, and it makes the
I
journey more joyful,
I
you
think
know?
you are spot on with the accountability communities. I love
Yes.
that because
Yeah.
that's gonna
Yeah.
when people are stuck and they continue with those 90 days, they're gonna have low days. Nobody's gonna have a
Absolutely.
90 days where they're feeling pip and peppy all the time. Nobody expects
No
that.
way. It don't happen like that. No
So
way.
that's where you need the accountability communities.
Yes.
And I totally
Absolutely.
agree with you on that. 1000%.
Absolutely. And you know, another good thing that you touched on too, you need to use visual tools.
Mm.
Either you
Mm-hmm.
got a vision board, you got
Mm-hmm.
tracker on your phone, or you have a journal, so you can see your progress and keep your energy focused.
Mm.
You know,
That goes with the divine discernment, my sis.
absolutely,
You're
absolutely.
focused. You're focused.
Exactly, exactly. And you need to design practical action steps.
That's important. I think what happens is you know how many people I speak to and they write all their New Year resolution. If you notice, I specifically did not mention on purpose no
Yes.
New Year's resolution. I
Yeah.
didn't do that. I
Mm,
said to you guys, start where you are. It doesn't matter how bad your situation may
absolutely.
be. I love what Lady K mentioned. It is a heavy season. The
Yes.
earth right now is purging, whether
Hmm.
it's calamities and weather, whether it's government collapse, whether it's our financial and personal wellness, whether it's
Yes.
whatever, it's breaking for a reason, it's shedding for a reason. So in these seasons, it's
Hmm.
asking us, if we're not fully aware, and I'll be that light if needed, it's asking us to do the inner work. You can't evolve as a
Yes.
human being. You will have a feedback loop of 5 years looking the same that it
Absolutely.
did the first year if you are not
Absolutely.
evolving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm totally agree with you, because many times we are in that loop,
Mm-hmm. It's a
you
feedback
know,
loop.
and we are in that loop. What are we doing to get out from that loop?
Mm. This
This
is,
this podcast here is so intense, because we
yes.
are giving you so many tools this evening for you to get out
Mm.
and declutter from that loop. Design practical action steps.
That's what
Break
it's
down,
all about.
yeah, break down your intentions into small, doable steps.
And don't have a skinny branch. And when I say skinny branch, have your goals where it's yes, it feels reachable, but you can't have these goals where it's micro
Absolutely.
steps that
Mm-hmm.
Miss Lady K was alluding to. Have the micro steps where it's tangible and something that you can do even a little bit, even if it's, oh, I need to cut back on sugar in my life. Sugar causes inflammation in the
Right.
body if we're talking about that. Or it could be a micro step in, oh, maybe I should walk today. I should do a
Right.
little bit more walking, maybe 30 minutes walking this time. Or maybe I need to invest on a exercise machine to help me. Or maybe I need a pedal still. Like it's little things like a pedal step. Some people, they love to walk while they're in a meeting. They have those treadmills now. I
Right.
don't know what it's called, but you get what I'm saying. They
Yes.
have, I mean, God has given these ideas to people. We have to know
Mm-hmm.
and have the discernment to choose what's being
Absolutely.
given. This is super, super important.
Mm-hmm.
We are right now ushering in the next 5 years. They have a 5-year plan to 2030. I want to say this to your
Mm-hmm.
audience. because I'm in the loop here.
Yes.
In 2030, in 5 years, your world right now would look extremely different because AI is going to be touching every industry. And if you are not part of that, and if you didn't eat the freaking cookie, okay, or bite the apple, you're not going to be, if you don't know an alternative way to think and know how to live within the essence of this is you can live within this AI world and all the changes that's happening and still yet not be a part of it. How do you do that? By your mind downloading the right information.
Yes.
You can still be of something and not, it's like oil and water. You can understand and observe on the outside and still understand what that serves and the purpose it serves and still not integrate with it fully, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, we really have to come home back to ourselves. You know, many of us have lost our way.
Very true.
We have lost our way. We have to realize that conditioning make us step away from who we are. And in order for us to really come home is to take a look at our lives.
Yes.
And
inventory.
Personal
inventory.
Exactly. This is the time of the year that we already lived 300 and something days, right?
Yes.
And what changes can I make this present moment that could take me into 2026 with something that is solid, that I can really stand on? Because renewal, you already have a foundation there, right?
Right.
It's just that some weeds maybe just need to pick out and plant new seeds. And planting new seeds is asking yourself the questions and planting the seeds there.
Well, I'll add to that and say that your foundation on all of us. Now, whether you're atheist, I'm so sorry, but I'm not trying to offend anybody here, but if they are, but I would say to you guys, try to interweave your soil or your foundation with God in some shape or form, because he will mold your ways straight where it needs to be. Every time we think we have a plan for our lives, he has something better. And so be fluid with your be fluid in allowing God to interweave himself in your plans.
Yes.
When those seeds are sprouting, you want him to give you your fruits of labor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for interjecting that.
Yes. Your foundation needs to be built on the sprouts of God's consciousness. How do you embody? Mr. Wills talked about embodiment. If you want to embody Christ consciousness, it's about embodying it. That's how you create the foundation that Miss K is talking about.
Yes.
If you have great foundation, but God's not in your plans, buddy, well, then how do you think your crop is going to grow from a seed? It's not going to grow.
Right.
You're going to watch and wait there until you're a little gray, and it's not going to work. And then you're going to wonder why you got stuck in the same loop again next year. Right. So it is a spiritual war.
It is.
And the elites know this. And that is the reason why they give you these systems, whether you want to talk about TikTok, whether you want to talk about all the social media that wasn't here 10 and 20 years ago. Okay. Now you can use social media to your advantage for what you need in marketing and business purposes and so forth for the greater good. But when you're talking about using it as an addiction, when you're talking about what you're doing and scrolling, instead of actually creating an active plan that you're doing, instead of scrolling or taking an hour to do a brain dump instead of scrolling, Do an hour brain dump, do a half an hour brain dump of what you can change from that day. What were your wins and what were your losses? So that's the personal inventory we're talking about. And then the foundation that Miss Lady K was talking about. Everyone has already preset foundation. But sometimes you need to rip that foundation off completely.
True. Yeah.
Sometimes it has to be. If you the end of your year looks like you need to rip that whole freaking foundation, excuse my language, but do it. And then if the foundation is okay, it's pretty, it's substantial, it's something decent, you just need to pull out a couple weeds. Well, that's the discernment that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Pull out the weeds and start planting the divine in your decisions. How do you do that? It's by having a personal prayer with God, even if it's 5 minutes a day, to guide your steps.
Right.
Let you meet the right people. Let you hold that accountability community that Miss Lady K was talking about. Because nobody's going to, after 10 days, you might get lazy. You might want to relapse to your habits. You're going to relapse what's comfortable. You remember what I mentioned earlier. The biggest resistance you have, the biggest distractions you have, your biggest breakthrough lies beyond that, on the outside of that.
Yes, absolutely right. Yes, you're so right. You know, Privity, this was such a great discussion. You know,
and believe me, I'm human. I go through the same things. I'm working through this just like you guys. I ain't perfect. I'm talking from experience here. I don't want anyone to think I haven't. I'm doing the inner work just with you guys on the same journey.
Yeah, we all, every day we got to do the inner work. Every day we have to do the inner work. We got to show up and we got to do the inner work, because life is a journey. And sometimes, many times you feel to yourself, oh, I heal from one thing, not knowing there is another layer.
It's a spiral. It's a spiral. I don't know if you guys can see this. I wear a copper ring that's spiral, and that's exactly what Miss K is talking about. Sometimes you have to go in a spiral to understand different layers.
Absolutely.
And that ring is for a reason. I remind myself sometimes that you have to revisit sometimes things to have deeper understandings of why. Remember the book? A lot of people have this book. This Simon Sinek has a book, The Purpose and Your Knowing Your Why. Knowing your why is very important.
It's very important. It is. It's very important. You know, and the thing is that we have the answers. We have the answers. And if you're looking for the answer and you're not coming up with the answer, then it's when you reach out and grab yourself a coach. Because
that's what we do.
We as coaches know to bring the best out in you.
That's the whole point of it all.
We're going to ask you the right question so you can tap into that inner true essence of your life.
Girl. Yes, sis. Yes.
You know, your inner essence, the core. We know how to bring that essence and that light out from you. Because you know what? Many times we are dimming our light because of conditioning, of old paradigm, from trauma. So many things dim our lights. But when you enter into space with us, it may be a bit tough, but it gotta be tough so you could get to the core.
I'm tough love, but you know what though? I'm also gentle in my approaches to understand the sensitivity of human being.
Absolutely.
And anybody that wants to book Miss Lady K or a coaching session with myself, that's what we serve the humanity for. That's what we're here for. No, this is not a judgment. If you guys ever decide to do a coaching session with me, you can reach me out on my social media links and Miss Lady K. Because what we're going to do is we're going to work through you and we're going to be that accountability community that she was just speaking about brilliantly.
Yes.
And we're going to help you to transform yourself by asking the right questions. The mark of intelligence is the right questions you have to ask. Because
Yes.
when you get the answers are there. It's going to be staring in your face when we give you those questions. And we're going to work you through that. And you're going to have other questions that will crop up. And that's what we're going to help you to understand, like how we have that self-sabotage question.
Exactly. And we have to come to a place of surrender and acceptance. Because many times we keep judging ourselves, we keep judging other people, we blame ourselves, we blame other people. But we need to come to that place of self-acceptance, and we need to come to that place of surrender. Because when we come to that place, we are able to be honest with ourselves.
And you're receptive.
Absolutely. And now you could come to that place of self-awareness to understand what exactly is happening with you. The beautiful thing is that, again, we have a choice. And whatever choice, you decide where you want to head. Your life, you get a choice to steer it. It's all in your hands. And you have to make that decision, which direction.
That's right.
You really want to steer your life.
And
you cannot blame. Go ahead, Pritvi.
And I want people to be aware exactly what she's saying. I'm feeding off this beautiful energy, her beautiful energy. I think what we want to talk about is micro choices. We deal with 1,000 micro choices a day. You don't realize the coffee in your creamer, the sugar in your cup, the sugar in what we consume, the instant gratification we want because of the hustle culture that we are a part of. What are we doing? We have to slow down and take personal inventory. So please be aware of your micro choices on a daily basis. If you don't know your micro choices, then you will not know the final finale of you will not know the finale of what your week is going to look like. Because when you get to that end of the week and you took all the 5,000 choices you made, I know that sounds insane. If you make 1,000 micro choices a day, we're looking at a week's inventory, and we sit down and we finally have a moment to breathe. You're looking at thousands and thousands of choices. So micro choices are very, very important. And this is something I'm just feeding off of Miss K's beautiful intelligence here.
Thank you. You too.
She just feeds me. I can be here for hours with her. She knows this. But the micro choices that we make, what are we making on a daily? That could be whether it's food, whether it's persons that we're talking to on the phone, whether it's someone that we invite in our home. Hello.
What we're listening
to, social media. What is the algorithm of your life speaking to? Your year's algorithm. What is the end of your year's algorithm? 2025. What are the micro choices that led to your algorithm? You are vibrating on a personal algorithm. I need you guys to understand this. We are spiritual beings of the high divine. What is your algorithm at 2025? Is your 2025 personal algorithm? Why do you think these systems are based on social media? Is based on algorithm. It's based on human nature. That's how we run. We're based on algorithms. What is your algorithm from your micro choices? Your micro choices will speak what your algorithm is and your inner narrative is running on. So I had to say that. Sorry, my darling. Go ahead. I don't know why this is happening, but I'm all for it.
You know what's happening here? It's just a divine flow. And
that's what it is.
Right. And what the listeners need to hear, that is why the flow is happening for the listeners. And it's to help them to turn that page this present moment.
And turning that page could be life transforming, guys. Everyone is capable of this. I think what happens is society makes us feel powerless and weak. You're not weak. If you've made it this far in life, you are in itself a miracle. Do you know how you got here?
Absolutely.
Sperm
Sure.
and egg. But do you know how many sperms and eggs had to get to one person?
Sure.
No, we're a miracle living and breathing by itself. Just that in itself, that you have a human
Absolutely.
body, that you have an intellect, that you have a home. You're rich than most people can imagine. But we
Yes.
forget these things.
Yeah.
We forget the simple things in life. We forget that we have power to choose. So please be aware of your micro choices.
Yes.
If my last notes, please be aware of your micro choices on a daily and how it adds up on a weekly and how it adds up as your algorithm in a yearly to monthly basis.
Absolutely. Wow. Well said, Privity. Well said, Privity. And this brings me now to the questions that I said that Joan and I
Oh, please. Yes.
have
I'd love to hear
for
them.
each and every one of you this evening. What moments brought me, which is you, the most joy, peace, or fulfillment? What moments brought you the most joy, peace, or fulfillment? What challenges stretched you, and what did you learn from them? What challenges stretched you, and what did you learn from them? Where did you feel most aligned with your values and purpose? Where did you feel most aligned with your values and purpose? What relationships nourished you, and which one drained you? What relationships nourished you, and which one drained you? What habits or patterns supported your well-being? Which ones held you back? What habits or patterns supported your well-being? Which ones held you back? What are you most proud of accomplishing, big or small, this year? What are you most proud of accomplishing, big or small, this year? What did you release? What are you releasing before stepping into the new year? What are you releasing before stepping into 2026? As the year winds down, many of us feel that push and that pull, but this is a great time for us to pause, to reflect, recalibrate, and go into that state of reflection so we can see exactly where we're heading. And if you joined us late, you really need to watch this replay, because there is so much nuggets from Privity and from Will this evening. Because, as I said in my opening statement, we are here to serve you. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you evolve. We want to see you grow. We want to see you expand. We want to see you live your best life, because it's magical.
It is. It's a miracle. It's a miracle in itself.
Exactly. We are creative beings.
It's true.
Each one of us came here with gifts.
Everyone does.
We have gifts. And don't compare yourself to no one else, because you are unique. You are special. You're one of a kind. Your imprint in this world is unique.
It is, as much as your fingerprint is. That's how unique you are. God made you special for a reason. Whether you're on the spectrum, whether you have a chronic disease, let nothing stop you. to become one step better than what you were
Absolutely.
last week.
Absolutely.
Just one step better. It's all about steps.
Absolutely. And honor them. Honor your
journey. Mm-hmm.
Honor your steps, because many times when we look back, we curse the past, not realizing the past get us to this present moment.
Ooh,
it doesn't
that's
matter
right.
how you look at it, because if you had a negative mentality, that is what you attract to yourself.
That's it.
If you have a positive mentality, that is what you attract to yourself. So you cannot curse the past. You're the author and the finisher of your life. So
you once had loved that.
Absolutely.
We once loved what we thought was good for us in that past. So you don't come to a place where you're not judging yourself. The world judges us enough. We also project judgment to others, and we also need to take inventory of that. Don't judge others. Everyone sins differently.
Yes.
Just because they sin differently, and we don't want to participate in more sin, right? Because we're doing that personal inventory.
Absolutely.
But I urge everybody to definitely save the replay. If you have to take down those questions, Miss Lady K also dished out some beautiful questions, some thought-provoking questions. That's what we do as coaches. And I'm sure Miss K can understand this. We don't only ask you questions and keep you accountable, but what we also do is make sure that we build a system, because the world deals on systems. Okay, if you heard anything from this podcast, it's a system that you're trying to create, an alternative system that allows you to be your highest self. What is your highest self, and why? How do you want to become that, and what do you want to step into in 2026 as the year of the horse, right?
Yes, I totally agree with you. And look at this time of the year as a period of healing and restoration. And I really like when we'll talk about resurrection. Look at this time as I am doing something for me because I love me. It is self-love. I am doing something for me, because we always nurturing people. But what are we doing? What are you doing for you as an individual? Are you stepping back and doing something for yourself, showing yourself self-love, compassion? What about your self-care routines?
I will tell you this right now, and I'll tell the entire audience so they don't feel I'm this kind of perfected person here. I myself had to learn, and I'm going to be transparent with your audience as well as yourself, is that I had to learn how to step back this year. That was my lesson for the year. If I had to be honest with you guys here and be vulnerable for a moment, because I think vulnerability breeds authenticity, and it breeds brethren, it breeds unity.
Yes.
So please, I'm going to tell you guys this, that I had to learn to step back and stop pouring into others so much and overextending myself, and try to do a self-check and say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm going to pour into myself for a moment. And that's how I can show up my best self to others and to the community we serve. And so it's very important. What she's saying is rest and rejuvenate. How are you able to show up your best self for 2026 when you're not resting? When you're subconscious, when you're reprogramming that subconscious with the micro choices, what we just spoke about, you have to rest for your mind to download and integrate this new systems and to be walking in Christ consciousness, to embody this best version of you. And just don't be scared of judging yourself, that you're a work in progress. We all are.
Yes.
All your coaches are too.
Yeah.
But what we teach, we walk. I walk the talk.
True. We walk the walk.
I walk the walk, bro.
Yes. We
but
walk that walk. Yeah.
It's a lonely walk, but sometimes you gotta have that journey to understand.
You gotta do it, because that is the only way of healing.
And
That's only
sometimes
real healing.
you need to heal. Like my sister's saying, this healing thing is
You gotta
sometimes it's you
heal.
and God in a season. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's you and God. Sometimes you might
Mhm.
have that season. You might find yourself starting the new year by yourself with you and God alone, and those
Yes.
tangible things that we gave you tools today.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
be finding to do those tools and the action plan. And we are here as coaches to help you. So don't be scared to reach out.
Exactly.
Reach
Don't be
out.
scared. Yeah, just reach out. The thing
There's
is
no
that
judgment.
absolutely. The thing is that we sit there, we're looking for change. We cannot do it on our own.
Mm-mm.
So if you cannot do it on your own, you got to reach out and get the right kind of help that you need.
Very important.
Have to reach out and get the right kind of help that you need, because in order for you to experience growth and evolution, you just
Mm-hmm.
we are energies, we're moving all the time. And if you want to experience flow in your life, that sacred flow, you got to change things up. You got to step out from that limited belief. You got to step
Ooh,
out.
now
You
she's
got to
missed
reach
this.
out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Limited
We
beliefs.
got
Ooh,
we got to do
that's
a
a
part
good
two.
one. But this is a
Do a
heavy
part
thing.
two.
It's a heavy. It has to be part two because there's so much to this topic. A lot of people, because you know why this is so heavy and this is so. There's more hours to this is because a lot of people when they're at the end of the year, they're like, oh my God, I'm 40, or oh my God, I'm 50, or oh my God, I'm 49. What and we're calling these like midlife crises that they're like, oh my God, I'm not where I want to be, and then you have this like massive depression that starts to
Yeah.
happen. Well,
Mhm.
because you're not where you want to be. Don't wait till that time. Invest in yourself, what Miss Lady K is talking about. Invest
Invest
in
in yourself.
yourself.
Yes, invest in
That
yourself.
can
Yes.
that can be not just doing the journey alone. That you might need a mentor and a coach, and that's what we're
Yes.
here for.
Yes.
Invest in yourself. Work with a coach.
Yes.
Life is not meant to be spent alone with just you and your family and your responsibilities. If you get wrapped up in that all the time, or you get wrapped up, let's say you're a workaholic. I'm just calling out different paradigms here,
Mhm.
okay? I'm not trying to trigger anyone. And even if I'm triggering you, that's the whole point. It's signaling something
Exactly.
that you need to
Mhm.
change,
You
right?
need the time to change.
But
Yes.
sometimes you may not know how to on your own. You may
True.
look at YouTube videos all day long, but you don't know how to make the first step. And
Absolutely.
that's what
Absolutely.
coaches, you want to invest in coaches like me and Miss Lady K here to help you
Accountability.
navigate that. You need
Mhm.
accountability and
Yes.
navigation. And
Mhm.
sometimes after you have your training wheels on and we take those training wheels off and we give you those tools, then you could be flying and soaring like a bird. And then we're like, well, the job's done. Like you might need 6 months, you might need 3 months, but
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
okay that we're here to see a win-win world. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your color, your belief
Absolutely.
systems. This is not about that. We're human beings. I always say this on my social media, where I'm all for service of human global citizenship. We are
Yes.
humans.
Yes. Yes.
This is
Absolutely.
I am not about this division that's happening with the world right now.
Yes.
I'm all about unity and unity of thought, creative mindset, and love. Loving all others against all judgment.
Yes.
Judgment only divides us. It doesn't make room
Absolutely.
for love.
Absolutely. Wow. This is so good,
We
Pritvi.
got to do a part 2. I
We
really
got to
think
do a
this is a
part two. Yeah,
heavy hitter
we got to do a part two. We got to do a part two.
because there's so
And
much that came up.
it's so much, and it's so much to unpack to help individuals. It is so
Very.
much. And the thing is that when you come into this space of enrichment of mind, body, and soul, or soul, light, and body, or the holistic healing hour, there is so much that you can take away. It's a packed menu. It's packed, and you take what you need, or you can pass it on to someone else,
That's right. That's
and
right.
the beautiful thing is that we are here to serve you.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to serve you.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing us talking to you at this point in time, we went through our own healing process.
Yes, we have.
You know, we are not just sitting here and speaking because we want to talk. We went through our fair
Fair share.
share of
And a little bit more.
challenges,
I'll
of
add that little bit more.
experiences, you know. But because of that, we can sit here today and help you as an individual to look at your life and see the areas in your life that you need to address. And again, what a better time of the year to address these areas of your life. And decluttering is super, super, super important, internal and external. But we just want to thank you, Pritvi, for taking the time and sitting with us this evening. You and Will was some two great guests this evening on this podcast. You give so much tips of empowerment, so much tips that people could use to transform their lives and to help them this end of the year to do a life audit or an inventory of your life and see where you're heading. And if you got to eliminate certain things, you have a choice. Only you have the choice. And if you can't do it, reach out to us, myself, Pritvi, or Lady J, because we will create a space for you. And the space we create for you is to help you to focus on your true essential self. That's the space that we're going to create for you. So,
and this journey is not alone.
It's not.
You don't have to go through it alone.
No, it's
Communities are very important. To be plugged into a community in this growth period.
Yes. Yeah. Community is super important because when you have that right community, you have the accountability. When you got a coach, you have the accountability because we make sure we give you materials. We check in with you to make sure you're okay. You're open to contact us at any time. If you're having a challenge, we open that door for you. So you can able to shed, declutter what no longer serves you. So Pritvi, once again, we just want to thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Place, and
we'll do a part 2 for sure.
Of course, we got to do a part 2. And to the audience, we want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us. We hope that you take away something from this podcast this evening because so many tips and golden nuggets was given to you today. And we just want to thank everyone on all the platforms, LinkedIn, IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us because your presence matters. And just know that whatever you're going through at this point in time, reach out and get the right kind of help. You are not alone in this. You're not alone in this. Whatever it is, you're not alone in this. Reach out and get the help that you need. So, Pritvi, once again, we just want to thank you so much. And Will, thank you as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Light and Body, that you will never miss none of these episodes. And also in the footnotes, you're going to find all Pritvi information, as well as Will information, as well as myself and Lady J information. Also, we got a freebie in there for you. It's email series on mental health. So you can subscribe to that and you're going to get to help you. I think it's every week or every other week, you're going to get an email to help you with mental health. If you know someone who can benefit from that email series, just share the link with them as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our Start Healthy magazine. It's both digital and hard copy. Beautiful recipes, beautiful articles. Some of our guests is featured in these magazines. It's great. It's just we're just serving. That's all. We are serving. And our 2 books, Your Gut in You and Self-Care is Intentional. It's up on Amazon, and you can purchase it and give it as a gift to someone that they can use. It's a tangible gift that they can use to go into 2026 aligned and understand about their gut and self-care. And also 2 for 6 Bajan Vibes family, they also have a classified ads. All the information is in the footnotes. You can look at the classified ads with the goods and services, and you can be a part and support, because through 2 for 6 Bajan Vibes family, we are able to broadcast this broadcast to you. So thanks once again to each and every one of you for supporting us throughout the years. We really appreciate your support. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Light and Body, that you will never miss none of these episodes. Have a fantastic week. We're going to be here next Sunday with another great topic. Bye-bye. Love you guys.
Bye.